Picture this. You're in a pitch-black room. It's so quiet you can hear your own heartbeat. Now imagine that room is filled with freezing water and someone is slowly lowering a massive piece of lead onto your shoulders. That's not a scene from a horror movie. That is every single second of the life of an anglerfish. We're talking about a creature in a world so hostile, it makes a desert look like a resort. It's a place where the sun never shines. The pressure is enough to crush a submarine, and your only hope for survival is a glowing orb hanging off your forehead. Welcome to the deep sea, where the anglerfish reigns as the undisputed queen of misery. Before we get into the truly disturbing details of their love lives, and trust me, it gets weird, I need a favor. If you think you could survive even 5 minutes at the bottom of the ocean, hit that like button. And if you know you'd implode instantly like the rest of us, hit subscribe. We're building a community of deep-sea explorers here, and we don't want you getting lost in the dark. Subscribed? Good. Let's descend. The anglerfish doesn't just live in the deep, it belongs to it. Most species hang out in the bathypelagic zone, about 3,000 to 13,000 feet down. At these depths, the pressure is over 400 times what it is at the surface. If you were there right now, your lungs would collapse, your bones would snap, and you would be reduced to a very flat, very sad pancake. But the anglerfish, she doesn't care. She's evolved a body that's mostly water and soft, flexible bones. She doesn't fight the pressure, she embraces it. But surviving the weight of the ocean is the easy part. The hard part is finding something to eat. In the midnight zone, there are no plants. Everything down here depends on marine snow, bits of dead stuff falling from the surface. It's a scavenger's world, but the anglerfish is a predator. She can't afford to swim around looking for food. That would waste too much energy. So she waits. She is the ultimate sit-and-wait hunter. She has a modified spine that acts like a fishing rod called an elysium. At the tip is a glowing bulb, the esca, filled with bioluminescent bacteria. Imagine you're a hungry little fish wandering through the endless dark. Suddenly, you see a tiny dancing light. It looks like a snack. It looks like hope. You swim toward it, thinking you finally found a meal. But as you get close, the light moves. It leads you right into the path of a mouth that's basically a jagged cave of needles. The anglerfish's teeth are translucent and angled inward. Once you enter that mouth, there is no exit, and she can swallow things twice her size. Her stomach is like a stretchy balloon, allowing her to take advantage of every single meal she finds. In a world where you might go weeks without seeing another living thing, you can't afford to be a picky eater. But as terrifying as the female is, the male anglerfish is a complete tragedy. If the female is a monster, the male is a ghost. When he's born, he's tiny, sometimes no bigger than a fingernail. He doesn't have a glowing lure. He doesn't have big teeth. He doesn't even have a functional stomach. He is born with a very short expiration date and one single goal: find a female. He has two massive tools to help him: oversized nostrils and giant eyes. He spends his entire life sniffing the water for pheromones and looking for that one specific twinkle of light in the infinite blackness. He is a biological search engine with no battery life. If he doesn't find a mate within a few weeks, he simply starves to death and disappears into the silt. But let's say he beats the odds. Let's say he spots a female. He doesn't swim up and ask for a date. He swims up and bites her. He latches onto her belly with his teeth, and he never, ever lets go. This is where the story turns from a nature documentary into a full-blown body horror film. Once he bites down, his body releases an enzyme that dissolves the skin of his mouth and the skin of her belly. Their tissues begin to fuse. Their blood vessels knit together. His heart starts beating in sync with hers. He literally becomes a part of her body. He loses his eyes because he doesn't need to see. He loses his fins because he doesn't need to swim. He even loses his brain because there's nothing left to think about. He becomes what scientists call a sexual parasite. He is a living, breathing appendage that exists for one reason: to provide sperm whenever she's ready to lay eggs. He doesn't eat for himself. He gets his nutrients from her blood. He is a shriveled, shrunken version of a fish, hanging off her like a strange biological skin tag. And she's not a one-man woman. A single female can have 6 or more of these parasitic males fused to her body at the same time. It's a life where individuality is completely sacrificed for the survival of the species. He isn't a he anymore. He's just a specialized organ on her flank. Why did evolution do this? Because the deep sea is so vast and so empty that the chances of 2 anglerfish meeting twice are practically zero. If they didn't fuse together, they'd never be able to reproduce. It's a brutal solution to a brutal problem. It's a till death do us part commitment taken to its most literal, extreme form. And the female's body has to play along. Normally, an animal's immune system would attack any foreign tissue, but the anglerfish has evolved a way to turn off its own immune defenses. She suppresses her ability to fight off invaders just so she can keep her parasitic mates alive. It's a level of biological cooperation that feels almost alien. Think about the isolation of that existence. You spend years, maybe decades, in a world with no sound, no light, and almost no company except for the remnants of your mates. It's a lonely, high-pressure existence that would break a human mind in minutes. But for the anglerfish, it's simply reality. Some species of anglerfish have lures that look like glowing trees, with intricate branches that flicker and pulse. Others have lures that can be pulled back into their heads when they aren't using them, like a retractable antenna. They are the ultimate gadget users of the deep, turning their own bodies into survival tools. Then there's the wolf trap anglerfish. This one has a mouth that can fold in a way that creates a literal cage for its prey. It doesn't just bite, it traps, holds, and ensures there is no escape. We call these creatures monsters, but they're really just masterpieces of adaptation. Every terrifying tooth and every glowing bulb is there because it has to be. In the deep sea, there is no room for vanity, only survival. But even these ultimate survivors have limits. Human activity is starting to reach even the midnight zone. We are finding microplastics in the stomachs of creatures that have never seen a human. We are changing temperatures in waters that have been stable for millions of years. The anglerfish has mastered the art of living in a freezer, but it has not mastered us. It is a strange thought. This creature, which looks like it could survive anything, might be taken out by pollution or shifting ocean currents. If you're a female anglerfish, your entire life is a waiting game. You're not just drifting, you're a living trap. Your lateral line is so sensitive, it can detect the slightest movement in the water. It's like having a sixth sense that tells you exactly where your next meal is. When the moment comes, you open your mouth. The sudden change in pressure creates a vacuum, pulling the prey in instantly. It's fast, efficient, and brutal. You swallow it whole, and for a short time, you have enough energy to survive. And that bioluminescent lure? It's not just for hunting. Some anglerfish use their light defensively. If a predator approaches, they flash patterns that attract an even larger predator, turning the situation completely around. But this comes with risk. Glow too long and you become a target. Stay dark too long and you starve. It's a constant balancing act between life and death. Now compare this to life on the surface. A trout has sunlight, oxygen, and food. A lion has territory and a social structure. But the anglerfish has none of that. No sun, no safety, no guarantees, just darkness and pressure. And yet, it survives. Think about the male again. We call him a parasite, but in a way, he's the ultimate team player. He gives up everything, his body, his senses, his independence, so the species can continue. Scientists have found that the male's sense of smell is so powerful, it can detect incredibly tiny traces of pheromones in vast amounts of water. He is a living tracking system designed for one purpose, and when he finds a female, the result is permanent fusion, two organisms becoming one. We still don't fully understand how deep that connection goes. Their bodies merge completely, their systems integrate. It's one of the most extreme biological relationships on Earth, and yet, it works. That's the thing about the anglerfish. It doesn't care about being normal. It doesn't care about being comfortable. It only cares about survival. And everything about it is built for that. Because they live so deep and are so specialized, they are extremely vulnerable to change. Even small disruptions in temperature or food supply can collapse their ecosystem. The anglerfish has survived for millions of years, but it may not survive what's happening now. It's a reminder that even the most extreme survivors have limits. So the next time life feels stressful, just remember the male anglerfish. Maybe things didn't go your way, but at least you still have your own body, your own mind, your own identity. In comparison, our worst days are still comfortable. The deep sea is a place of incredible beauty and unimaginable cruelty, and the anglerfish represents both perfectly. It's terrifying, fascinating, and oddly impressive. It challenges what we think it means to be an individual. It shows how far life can adapt when pushed to the extreme. And it makes you wonder what else is down there. Because for every anglerfish we know, there are likely many more species we've never seen. Creatures with even stranger adaptations, even more extreme survival strategies. The ocean is still one of the last great frontiers on Earth, and the anglerfish is just a glimpse into how alien life on our own planet can be. So what do you think? Is the life of an anglerfish truly miserable, or is it an incredible example of survival at any cost? Would you trade your independence for guaranteed survival in the dark? Let me know in the comments, and if you enjoyed this deep sea dive, don't forget to like the video and subscribe. There's a lot more out there, and we're just getting started. Stay curious, stay fascinated, and maybe stay out of the midnight zone.